Hey everybody, it's Ryan. Welcome back to How Farms Work. We've got Big Red in the shed with us here today. I unhooked it from the trailer, brought it up to the machine shed because it's time to change the oil. So Hannah and I went to Truck Country yesterday and got replacement filters for the truck. We've got our lube filter here, we've got our fuel filter right there, and our coolant filter, which to me looks kind of smaller than the one that's on there. So I might have another look and see to make sure that's the right filter. They said that it could be a little bit smaller than the one that we've got on there. So I just brought the truck up, so the motor's all warmed up. I just shut it off now so we can go ahead and start draining the oil out of it. Let's pop the hood and climb underneath. I would have preferred to park this the other way around, but it's a challenge to get this truck backed up in here going backwards, and it's kind of a tight fit because the combine's right there, gator's right here. So I just decided to go ahead and pull it front ways in. Now we've got this handy dandy pan here that makes life so much easier because we're just going to be taking our oil and dumping it into this bulk oil bin here. And Travis got this a while back. Fits a lot better under the truck than a 5-gallon barrel. So we're gonna slip this underneath. What makes doing this really simple on this truck is just the fact that all I gotta do is slip this underneath, and then there's like a little dial I gotta turn under there, 9 degrees, and the oil just starts pouring right out. That used oil pan really made some quality life improvements there for me this time around. That was a good idea. That is emptying out now. There's roughly 5 gallons that I'm dumping out. So I'm gonna let it keep on draining. In the meantime, I'm gonna change the fuel filter, probably go over, change the coolant filter, which is on the other side, and then lastly, do the lube filter. So let's go ahead and grab our jaws and try to pop out that fuel filter. This one was a little tight. Okay. At least it's coming. It's always a good sign. We got that fuel filter off now. I'm gonna take a little dab of oil and run it around the seal on the new one, just to make it seal up against the truck better. And then it says to tighten it down until it's touching and then turn it an extra 3/4 of a turn. So we're gonna do that. Still draining oil on the bottom, so we're gonna go over to the other side and change the coolant filter. We're on the right side of the motor now, and this greasy looking thing back here is the coolant filter, and that's always the most fun one to get out. The lube filter is down underneath the frame just below. We'll do that one next, but let's struggle to get this coolant filter out. Good news is it's turning. Bad news is it's still cramped as always. Oh, well, that was to be expected. So it looks like the new filter is a little bit smaller than the old one. I can't get off any numbers other than P55 off the old filter here. But it looks like it should still work, so we're gonna trust them. we're gonna have a good day. All right, I got the new filter out. I'm gonna take the old one out first, but what we're gonna do before we put the new one in is we're gonna pre-fill it with oil so that we prevent a dry start, because without any oil in the filter, the motor won't be getting any oil until the filter fills up. And I think one of the main concerns is the turbo, which the oil filter is right down underneath this block here, and this hose comes up to lube the turbo. So I think that's kind of the main thing that you got to be worried about as far as pre-filling it. If you don't do it, I don't think it'll like imminently destroy your truck, but they say that you should do it. Depending on the vehicle as well, you should always refer to your vehicle's specifications for the engine manufacturer. But let's pull out that oil filter, see how this goes. Oh, easy cheesy, boy. And that's what you get when you don't over tighten your filters. Well, there's no clean way to do any of this. Ah! That was close. Oh, so we're using 15W40. Well, last but definitely the least favorite. Time to put this bad boy in there. Don't drop it into the used motor oil, Ryan. Oh, that's a real challenge. Oh. According to the engine manual, the oil pan holds 9 gallons and the filter holds 0.7. So we're gonna finish draining out the rest of the oil and start filling her back up. Now last year I made the comment about how this type of drain at the bottom of the oil pan would be great for the tractors, because it's super easy to just start draining the oil out. You throw the oil pan under there, you turn that thing, and it starts pouring out. And someone made the comment that, which I totally understand why, because like, especially the reason they don't do that for like, things like tractors is because out in the field, there are things sticking up like corn stalks that could come up and hit that, and over time if you hit that out in the field, it could start draining your oil. And in this guy's circumstance, he said that corn stalk got shoved up under there, twisted that, and drained out all of the oil in their oil pan out of the truck. So that's a very valid reason, you know, why you wouldn't want to have one of these things on a tractor. So now every time I pull into the field, I'm probably going to worry about that. But it's got a real slow dribble to it. But let's go ahead and pull this out. We'll fold that thing shut, and that'll be a day. There you go. Crap. Not enough yet. Let's go see if we got any other oil jugs laying around. I don't think we do. I might have to make a quick run up to Gassers, see if they got 15W40 on hand. Luckily I found another 5-gallon jug in the milk house with plenty in it yet. I put another ½ gallon in, so we're at 5.5 that I've put in, not including the filter. Another quart would probably do it. We're just under the, I'd say we're about halfway. I could probably add another gallon, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, we're right here. Halfway between the add and full lines. Put the cap back on and fire this up. Then we'll check it again. Once we get everything running, I'll shut her down, check it again, see where the oil level's at, because there is a little bit that it needs to fill up yet in the oil filter. So I'll check it again, make sure that we're still at a good level, and then we'll call it good. And I can back this back underneath the trailer, and that's it for changing the oil on this. Only took about an hour and a half, not real bad. We got the oil changed in the truck. Now I'm sitting out here waiting for a guy to come give us a quote to replace a couple posts in the pole shed out here. As you may be able to see, for the corner post on the pole shed, it is completely rotted off. So to prevent a mishap like we had with the outer barn at Rockville last year, which completely blew away, we're taking a step ahead of the storms, and we're trying to get these posts replaced in the pole shed, because it would be truly devastating if we lost this out of here, because this is where we do a lot of our loading and unloading. It's where Dad keeps his steers and heifers over the winter, and we use it. This is one of the most used buildings that we have as far as cattle go. So we definitely want to make sure that that's good to go, and good to fight any strong winds that come through, especially being that this is a southern facing pole shed and it's entirely open face. So if it's empty and we get another big windstorm that comes through, it would leave it exposed to being blown away. And unlike the one at Rockville, this one would land square on the machine shed. Some of you have been asking me, Ryan, where have you been for the last 2 months? And to be honest, I've been doing a lot of little things. Cleaning up the duplex, doing work out at the duplex especially. I had the deck replaced last fall by the Amish, and they didn't do too good of a job. It wasn't exactly up to code, and my tenants noticed that every time it rained, the downstairs tenants, their kitchen would flood with a lot of water. So tried to stay ahead of the game. A buddy and I went through and completely reflashed the front deck at the duplex to try to help push away that water away from the house. As it was very exposed. Any water that landed on the deck could easily just go right back into the wall of the house. So I got bulls in with my cows as of last week. The neighbors' bulls, one of their, I think it was a Charolais bull, broke in, as well as one of their Highlander cattle, which has big frickin' horns. And the Highlander's still out there. He's so touchy you can't even work with him. So I had to push as many cows as I could out into the big pasture again. But the problem is there's not a lot of feed out there. So I let the cows up into the barnyard, where the barn is torn apart into pieces. And I let them into the steer lot this morning, because there's a decent amount of grass in there, but I see they've already got it eaten down pretty well. So I'm hoping I can either get the rest of my cows out of the Klein pasture or something to, open up the fence and hope that he pushes his way back out. But I don't know how effective that's going to be. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm trying to get my heifers pried away from him right now. He's busy breeding them. So I don't know. I'm kind of concerned as to what's going to happen next year when those calves start coming out, and then the following year when I go to sell them. So my bulls are busy working away at breeding the cows, but I just let them in here towards the end of July, and they only had a couple weeks to stay ahead before the neighbor's bulls broke in and started breeding them. So I don't know. It's a mess, but that's kind of to be expected when you have cattle. I mean, there's only so much you can do to keep the neighbor's bulls out. It's just I wish they weren't Highlander and Charolais, but I don't know. We'll see what they go for. That's just kind of the current game plan of things that are going on around here. I mean, there's a lot of things on the table that I would love to spend money on. The biggest thing right now probably being a pole shed, barn, something to replace the barn foundation out here and give the cows some shelter. Because looking at the milk house here even, I mean, I was thinking about leaving the milk house up, but there's not really anything that I can use it for. I could use it to store things, I guess. I mean, those gates could probably go in there, but they're gates. There's not really any use that I have for this thing, so I'm probably going to go through and just end up tearing this out as well. And I'm pricing out to see how expensive it's going to be to A, cement the barnyard, and B, build a building. Not totally sure which will come first. I know I'd like to build a building first, but I could really use some concrete out in the barnyard. Everything's always a work in progress. I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up with my regular schedule. With that, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. All How Farms Work. And with that, I'll see you next time.